You've heard the tales of leprechauns. They grant wishes, but never without a price. This is the haunting story of Eamon O'Shea, a poor Irish farmer who caught one of the little tricksters and made a wish for gold that never runs out. But every time he spent a coin, something close to him withered. His home, his family, his soul. They say that if you catch a leprechaun, he must grant you 3 wishes. But what they never tell you is that a leprechaun never truly lets you win. His gifts always come with a price, and it's a price you can't pay with gold. Eamon O'Shea was no fool. At least, that's what he thought. A poor farmer living on the edge of a small Irish village, he had heard the legends, the old stories passed down by the firelight of his ancestors. But he never believed them. Leprechauns, mere tales to scare children. That was until one cold March morning, when spring's first whispers swept through the mist, and he heard a rustling near the hollow oak tree. Drawn to the sound, he found something that should not have been, something impossible. There, caught in the twisted roots, lay a strange little man no taller than a child. His clothes were tattered, his green coat faded by time, and his boots worn thin. His hat was crushed beneath him, and his eyes, those gold-flecked eyes, never blinked, like they knew things they shouldn't. When he smiled, it was wide, too wide, stretching across his face, revealing teeth that seemed far too sharp. "Ah, caught me, did ya?" The creature chuckled, as though it was all part of the plan. "Well, rules are rules. 3 wishes, lad. Choose wisely." Eamon's heart raced. He had heard the old folk speak of leprechauns, tricksters, creatures who played games with men's desires. But greed whispered louder than caution. "I wish for a bag of gold that never empties," he said, voice trembling with excitement. The leprechaun's grin stretched wider, eyes gleaming as he snapped his fingers. A leather pouch appeared at Eamon's feet, golden coins spilling out onto the grass like they were made of sunlight. "Done," the leprechaun said, vanishing into the air before Eamon could say another word. That night, Eamon returned home, the pouch clutched tightly in his hand. The gold was cold to the touch, but it felt like power, more than he had ever dreamed of. He poured the coins onto his table, his eyes wide with wonder. The pouch refilled as if by magic, over and over again. He drank to his newfound fortune, filling his cup with whiskey and toasting to the life he'd always dreamed of. Laughter filled the room, but as the night wore on, something strange happened. The fire in the hearth flickered. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the walls. The room seemed colder, even though the fire should have warmed it. The next morning, Eamon awoke to find his house darker than usual. The sun outside was shining, but inside the cottage, an icy chill clung to the walls, and the gold coins, their once brilliant shine had dulled to a dull, lifeless gleam. He picked one up, feeling a strange unease settle in his chest. The air seemed to thicken around him. At first, he shrugged it off. He took a coin and went to the pub, buying drinks for the villagers. But when he returned home, the chill had deepened. The fire in the hearth struggled to keep the room warm, and when he exhaled, his breath misted in the air. The next day, things grew worse. He spent another coin, this time buying himself a new coat. But that evening, he heard something. Soft whispers in the dark corners of his house. Whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The more he spent, the worse it got. The shadows grew darker, longer, as if they were moving of their own accord. And then the whispers turned into something else. Low, guttural sounds, like a voice calling from inside the walls. But it wasn't just the house that was affected. Strange things started happening to the people around him. His neighbor, a kind old woman, fell ill. His brother-in-law was struck by a terrible accident on the farm. His cousin's crops withered overnight. Every time he spent a coin, someone close to him suffered. It wasn't just the house anymore. The bad luck was following him. Eamon's greed had cursed more than just his home. It had cursed the people he loved. By the seventh day, the air in his cottage was suffocating. The walls groaned at night as though they were alive, and the shadows twisted into grotesque shapes. Eamon could no longer stand it. The whispers were no longer whispers. They were voices mocking him. Desperate, he grabbed the pouch and rushed to the hollow tree, hoping the leprechaun could undo the curse. And there he was, standing in the mist, waiting, smiling that awful, knowing smile. "Back so soon, lad?" the leprechaun asked, his eyes gleaming with amusement. "Come to make a second wish, have you?" Eamon's heart pounded in his chest. "Take back the gold," he begged. "Undo it. I don't care about the gold anymore. Take it all back. Just make it stop." The leprechaun tilted his head, a cruel smile spreading across his face. His teeth were sharper now, more pronounced. "I can grant that," he said, stepping closer. "But tell me, lad, what are you willing to lose in return?" Eamon's eyes darted to the shadows moving at the edges of the trees. Something long, something waiting. "Anything," Eamon gasped. "I'll give anything. Just make it stop. Please." The leprechaun let out a low, delighted laugh, and in that moment, Eamon felt something inside him snap. He could feel the weight of his own soul trembling in his chest. Done. Eamon collapsed to the ground. The world around him went black. The next morning, the villagers arrived at his home, drawn by the strange silence. They knocked, but no one answered. When they forced the door open, they found the house empty, save for the gold coins scattered on the floor, their shine completely drained, lifeless, like the curse that had followed them. If you stand by the hollow tree at dusk, you might hear something strange. A whisper, "Help me." And just behind you, the slow, deliberate tapping of something moving in the walls.